a fantasy crossover with K-pop Demon Hunters and the Zootopia characters. And part of the storyline in this like 4 or 5 minute clip was that one of the evil like demon Saja Boy characters, Genu, used like some sort of love potion to get Judy Hopps, the anthropomorphic bunny, to marry him for some reason. And then they like, they stopped it. They brought her to her senses. And it's like, one, this is some weird bestiality angle. I don't know what's happening here. But also like, this is weird. This is weird.
Yeah.
Like, and that's probably not even remotely like the most offensive AI. So this was just like slop.
The people that put together the like, oh well, look at this fight scene that would have taken Hollywood this long to do. It's like that was Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt having a fight scene. Like, yeah, that fight scene sucks.
Mm-hmm.
That I can sit there and watch it. That fight scene sucks because just from a technical standpoint, their arms pass through each other. Like he's supposed to be blocking something, and the guy's arm comes through to punch at him, and it is so basic because there's no like it's not like I'm throwing punches. It's just like There are punches that are thrown from the elbow. There's no body twist to it. It looks great if you don't know what you're talking about, but God, if I don't. Oh, I would burn down data centers if I could get away with it, I think. But I can't, so I don't. And for legal reasons, that is a true statement.
I was going to go back to something you guys were talking about. Sorry, guys. This has been a whole mess. Like, sorry. I think it's OBS because my internet is fine.
It just had an update, didn't it?
No, I don't think so. Well, anyway, this is going to be a mangled mess because I was offline for a bit. I'll try and cobble some stuff together, unfortunately. But I was going to say, I think the one problem with Triple H using AI, though, is I think AI would catch some of those problems they've been having with the continuity if he was feeding stuff into it properly. Because when I do fantasy booking, I do have AI to, like, kind of say, like, hey, you forgot this feud, or hey, like, you had previously done this. Like, I use it for continuity check. I don't use it to book for me. I use it to, like...
Well, okay, so the continuity check would be, hey, please look back over this stuff and tell me who this person has interacted with.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's one thing. And I don't think they're doing that because Triple H has the same people interact with the same people only repeatedly.
Yeah, and AI really is dumb. Like, that's the thing I don't think people understand, especially like Zoomers that I call it AI derangement to a degree. There's people that buy into 100% what AI is saying, and there's a lot of people that do that. But here's the thing with that is, talk to AI about something feed stuff into it, and it'll get stuff wrong, and it'll get stuff wrong really quick, or it doesn't remember things. So people are like, wow, I did this stuff and AI remembered. I'm like, really? Because AI can't remember a goddamn thing I try to.
Yeah, it's God. Here's my go-to example. AI is well, number one, the people who you see an online argument and they're like, come on, man, where are you getting this from? And they post a screenshot of like the Google AI summary, and it's like, no. And I know I've said this before, but here's my go-to answer. You don't trust that because, for example, I saw the screenshot. Someone asked it for a recipe for, I don't know, pineapple upside down cake or something, some kind of cake. And one of the ingredients in it was broken glass. So don't tell me that you should listen to everything AI says. I mean, I have friends who are high school teachers, and they go to everything is pad and paper now because students would just throw the question in whatever LLM you've got, copy the answer and throw it down. It's like, you didn't do this. Oh yeah, I did. No, you didn't. This is AI stuff. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. How do you know? I asked ChatGPT if it was from ChatGPT. My sister-in-law quit being an English professor because of this crap. Like, there's no. I don't know how we can grab people by the lapels and get them to understand that there is no way. Like, don't buy the hook, line, and sinker that they threw to you because it's not true. They want it to be true.
I'll use a great example. There's a tabletop racing game I play, and I keep the standings in a spreadsheet. And if I fed it to ChatGPT would be worse, but even Gemini, which is a little better, if I fed that tab of the spreadsheet in with the standings, it would get things wrong just off of the spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would confuse things off of a spreadsheet.
Yeah, that's all right there in front of it.
Yeah. And it would mess things up, it would mess things up within a couple of follow-up questions.
Yeah.
But it's a problem.
It makes
But
me so crazy.
but like, ask it like who won the World Series. It'll get one of those wrong.
Yeah. It's okay. Here is the other example I'd like to go to. There was a lazy ass attorney in Australia who used an LLM to write. I don't know what to write a brief. Is that the right term?
Yeah.
You're doing a write up for whatever you're filing, but you write your brief, and this LLM, I don't know which one it was, invented.
Oh yeah, that's happened. That's
to
happened.
Support.
That's happened
That's
here
happened in America.
Yeah, it happened.
The only one that I know. Okay, the only one that I knew for certain was an Australian case. I don't doubt there are others. I just didn't know for certain.
Oh yeah.
There's a well-known one that happened in Texas over the summer last year.
Yeah, but but that one, there was one that I know was bad. Like, they were going to maybe, bring sanctions against the attorney, because it's like, you can't. It's really egregious. Like, you can't do that. It's lazy.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, you're putting erroneous information. You're filing it in court and holding it as like accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a problem.
You can't do this crap. This is what? Okay, I'm just gonna quit because it frustrates me so much that I lose the ability to articulate past what I've already said.
Yeah. Sorry, folks. I'm just frustrated with the tech stuff. It's perplexing me.
Yeah, I had wanted to talk briefly because we started and then we got into AI, but I did want to mention the ratings. If we could go into that, it was reported. This is there was a hilarious point to this, but it got reported.
Now I listened to the flagship segment on this, and they're not sure if this includes the people watching on ESPN Unlimited or not.
Actually, if it's from Nielsen, it's everything. The Nielsen Big Data panel is combined.
But this is free stuff on ESPN though, so I think that's an even bigger damning indictment.
Yeah, it's, as far as I know, it did not include the app, or that service, because that was the hilarious part of this, is that the numbers came out and basically night 1 was 1.62 million viewers, night 2 was 1.82 million viewers.
And now it needs to be said night 2 is really damning because one of those free matches on ESPN was the Lesnar Obafemi match.
Yeah, and Lesnar does have, some name recognition that is outside of obviously just wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And Roman versus Punk was that was your big match of the entire show. I know people like to think the Cody McAfee stuff, but it's no, it was that.
There are people arguing, the flagship was talking about this, that actually when you talk about the build-up aspect of it, that Brock and Obafemi was probably the hottest program because
true.
Because I said it going in, and I've heard I've actually heard a lot of people being like, "I wish Punk would just shut up now." And this is like normie fans, but the the Roman Punk thing like peaked really early and then they never got back there. Like the first promo, they just kind of ran back over and over again and people got sick of it. So it actually kind of lost momentum as it went in, and Brock and Oba
Yeah.
gained momentum, and then obviously um the and I people are kind of clowning on Pat McAfee, but I kind of respect his the fans aren't digging this shit, I'm out.
It wasn't just that. It was apparently after Mania, he was like, "I went out there and did everything you asked me to, and there have been such bad reactions to everything that you know what? I'm done."
Yep.
And supposedly he's out entirely,
I
which
I kind of I kind of like will believe that when I see it because first off, it's wrestling. Like even people who are
well,
dedicated to
yeah.
wrestling, yeah. But
Well, I mean,
uh,
it's gotta suck because like here's the thing. I watched his stuff with him, and what they had him doing was ridiculously stupid. But he was doing a good job with the terrible shit they gave him to deal with, and he tried his hardest. And I could just see like, screw this. Like I make my money elsewhere, and it's probably damaging my brand to be doing something that's unpopular. And like, and you want me to wrestle Jelly Roll? Like, no, I think I'm good.
I had heard someone like postulate that like it was actually Triple H was the one who was booking this stuff.
Oh, of
Uh,
course, because they tried to blame. I know, you know how I know it was Triple H booking because the instant excuse the second it failed was that it was the higher ups at TKO because you weren't on that episode, but like Shad and I talked about that, and I said no, the higher ups at TKO would not do something that meta and talk about how much the product sucks. Like
that people
they might have said you need to fix this because it's not working, but they would not. No, someone that is not in the wrestling bubble would not come up with an angle like that.
Ari Emanuel is not booking this.
Yeah.
No.
Ari Emanuel, because Pat McAfee is like his client, he's like Pat McAfee's agent. He probably, I can believe fully that he went and was like, Pat McAfee, he's my client. We want to really push him. Like we think that we can do big things with Pat McAfee. And he's got some broader mainstream like popularity. So and attention, like people in the sports world know him. So you should involve him in this angle. And how it was done had it been on Triple H and the booking committee, because Mark, again, Ari Emanuel isn't booking. He doesn't give a shit
Well,
about wrestling,
and
really.
and here's the thing. Here's the thing. Why I say it's not him and people saying like he booked that idea is, and this is my justification for it. A non-wrestling fan would never come up with an angle that meta and stupid for
Yeah,
wrestling because
yeah.
that is something you have to be in the inside. It's like when comics do a ridiculous thing and then you would blame it on like a non-comic fan. It's like no, someone outside of the bubble would never come up with that angle.
Which again, it didn't go over well, but also that's problematic because it seemed like they were trying to do the again, it's meta, but they're trying to do this like, well, and it's going again, nothing about Triple H is innovative or new or interesting. It's basically almost doing a weird variation of the whole like Vince McMahon thing from back in like the
Well, he
Attitude
would have been
Era,
on the
where it's like,
booking
oh,
committee.
like the company, like, oh, those dastardly executives like meddling, and they're the ones you fans should, if you have complaints. It's like, no,
Well, they were doing
like,
the product sucks thing like towards the end of the Vince thing, so he would have been on the booking committee for that stuff. And you know how it's true that it wasn't the higher ups at TKO because they pulled the exact same shit with the releases, saying that Ari Emanuel did the releases like he knows who any of those people are.
that's more like the fans than actual
No,
like
but they're the same people.
WWE
They're the same
people.
people. They're the same people that are saying that Ari Emanuel booked the.
Oh well,
And you
yeah,
know,
people who
and the thing is, people aren't coming up with that on their own. Like some of their shills are getting fed that stuff because that is always his excuses. It's the it's the people above me doing it. And like Meltzer got into a big fight with someone about that. You're like, well, Nick Khan knew. It's like, yeah, Nick Khan might have had an idea, but I doubt Nick
he
Khan cares enough to like. Nick Khan is
he
not in the weeds enough to know
he
who.
Dave was arguing with people on like the earlier like so the releases came out Friday, but I did want to mention a couple of things with the ratings before we move on to like releases, but uh the news came out Friday, so like Friday, Saturday, Dave was like arguing back and forth with people because there are people, the shills obviously, like your shills are gonna, they're there to propagandize
Yeah,
for the WWE, but
Conrad's doing it
beyond
for
them, like
free.
who?
Conrad's doing it for free for them.
Andrade. Um, Basically, like there are people out there, WWE fans, who are just in denial, where it's like,
Yeah,
and people started noting, and it's true. Like if you look up the trope, good czar, bad boyars, and it's an old one, but it goes back to like Stalin and everything, or not. I mean, Stalin wasn't a czar, but before
Yeah.
that, where it's like, oh, the czar of Russia does terrible things. It's like, well, that's not his fault. He actually loves us. It's the boyars. It's his underlings who are the ones causing the problems. It's like, no, like what a thing that it's like all, and that's the story of Triple H's like tenure. It's like, oh, all the good things, oh, that was me. Bad things, oh man, that was that was left
yeah.
over from Vince.
It's
Like that's TKO. Like it's like, so you have complete power and control and your creative vision when things are going well. When something's bad is happening, it's like, well, that's not me. That's someone else. It's like,
yeah.
okay, so what is it? Do you have
Well,
control or not?
he's a bad leader, and he cares. He has a fragile little ego. Because I'll use a great example from personal life of like what a good leader does. So, this area before I worked, they cut the pay, and that came from the higher ups. Like our boss didn't do that, and people still held this grudge against forever. But when he introduced it, he pretty much like took ownership of it because people needed someone to be mad at. So what he did is essentially, because you can't be mad at some like random person.
Baseless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he pretty much fell on the sword and gave them a target for their anger. And I told people after the fact, like that's what he did, and they wouldn't believe me, but that's what a good leader does. Like he gave them an outlet, and he was willing to take the heat for it. And being someone that's managed people before, I hate Triple H because he's really big on that. He wants, like, he wants all the good but not the bad. But like when you're
Mhm.
in like a leadership position, like you're the bad guy no matter what. Because like someone had asked me about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm othered because I'm not like I'm in management now, so I'm always the bad guy to a degree. Even if like they
Yeah.
like me, I'm still I'm outside the group now. And he's
Yeah.
such a, but look at what like a little thin-skinned bitch he is. Like he doesn't get he stopped going out after shows after he got booed twice. He stopped doing press
Yeah.
conferences after he got a couple of tough questions. He's just an insecure little fucking bitch is what he
Here,
is.
I want to throw this one. Here's two examples of how I know that he's shit ass at what he does. Is and it was the thing that RJ City made fun of. Is he went out there to show people how to do their own damn entrance. And it's part of it's like, and you stop here and you look and you take it all in. It's like, do you think you need to tell people if they're walking out on a WrestleMania stage that they need to stop and take it all in? They're You got to tell them that, and then it's like, the fact that he can't let them handle it themselves, which means he's got to micromanage just one thing that they don't need help with. And then number two, the Unreal segment with LA Knight, where he's chewing out LA Knight, telling him he did it wrong for something that frankly didn't matter. And nobody would have known or given a shit if it hadn't been on Unreal.
And
And it's like you get up there and you boom, 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 and the people get into it. And it's like, and LA Knight's just sitting there not saying a word the whole time because, as it turns out later, he didn't say it, but he said it, that he was pissed the camera was on for that. So now, whenever he comes through the curtain, he doesn't stop at the gorilla position. He walks straight back to the locker room. Hey, we need to talk. I'll be in the locker room. He won't talk to them up there anymore. And it's like the fact that you have to either handhold people through stuff they don't need your help with, or you're going to show yourself talking down to people in order to make yourself look better, is just more evidence of what a thin-skinned pussy ass little bitch you are.
Yeah, and
And I am way more vulgar on this show than I usually am in my life,
it's because
but
we're not
I
live.
don't know, huh?
It's because we're not live.
Well, no, I mean in general.
Yeah.
But it's like anytime there's some I had a teacher tell me he was a basketball coach. He said the mark of a good leader is when things go well, he gives credit to the people around him. When things go bad, he takes the blame.
Yep.
That's part of being the leader. And Triple H doesn't ever do that. He is always the inverse of it.
I'll use another great example of when I was a manager. I still do it as like with my team, but like so a problem would come up and I'd work with someone on the team and we'd solve it together. And I tell them, I said, okay, now you're going to go into the team chat and tell them you fixed it.
Oh yeah.
And I'd even do that with higher ups. And I was like, yep, go in there and tell them you fixed it. And I wouldn't take any credit because I'd I'd let them have the win on that. And like some people knew I was doing that, but like it was like I don't need the credit for every little thing. Like let someone have their let someone have the moment. But I want how the releases, I know it was Triple H because he couldn't fucking help himself. He had to let a black guy go in his round of releases after they made a point earlier in the year about how they needed to bring black talent up to the main roster and sign Powerhouse Hobbs because the perception was he wasn't booking black talent properly. Not that I wouldn't get rid of Apollo Crews because like I don't see the upside to him, but like I maybe would have like not done that for one round of releases to try and like keep that narrative going a little bit.
They haven't done a damn thing with him in the 11 years he was in that company. And that's not, here's the thing, that's not his fault. I don't hold that against him. I don't hold that against. What was the line? If creative doesn't have anything for you, that's not my fault. That's creative not doing their job.
Well,
I don't hold that against him.
I will hold it against him that he's never developed a character in like a decade.
I would ask, and I'm asking because I honestly don't know, has he had much of an opportunity to? Because
but
you can't really develop a character if you don't have TV time to do it with.
But there's things you can do within like the context of an entrance in a match to be other than I'm the smiling guy that's happy to be here, which a lot of like the newer NXT people have trouble with. So like there's ways he could show personality that he's never done. Now I will say we were talking about this on the side about like if you would take Cedric Alexander or Apollo Crews like for the Hurt Syndicate like for AEW, and I said, "Oh, I wouldn't I would prefer neither, but like I would 1,000% take Apollo Crews over Cedric for.
Cedric's not old enough.
Well, no, but but the thing is, like we'll just go by his name now, Uha Nation. Like he does have something to him. Like you kind of do care when he's wrestling, but Cedric's like a nothing. Like I'm sorry, Cedric is just like cardboard. Like there's nothing interesting.
There's nothing there. No, he's not. And I know he was in like the Hurt business.
Yeah.
When he was in, but he was like the least interesting member of that back in the day. But
because at least like Uha was kind of interesting in the Hurt business. Like it gave him something, and Cedric was still Cedric.
Yeah, Apollo / Uha Nation. Like he was a good worker. He was in Dragon Gate. Like he could do a lot of really cool stuff, and then he went 10, 11 years of his career, like just eaten up by the WWE.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to move into like the releases. We're kind of talking about it now, but like, if I was Tony Khan, would I bring him in? Like,
no.
He's pushing 40. Like, I don't think you need to. I've seen some people suggest that they should consider bringing him in for like Ring of Honor.
Okay, I could see that.
I could see that. It's still like a question mark what Tony Khan ultimately like is going to do with Ring of Honor. Like I've seen it I've seen it suggested that he does or has in the past wanted it to have like an actual like network deal, not necessarily with like Warner Brothers, but with someone. But the offers that he got, like he didn't like, so he's just he's kept it with the
Oh,
Ring of Honor club.
yeah.
I personally would like love to see, even though I have like no time to watch the wrestling content, I do, but I would love to see it like get its own like syndicated show somewhere, whether
Yeah.
it's on Fox Sports or some other channel. And if it did get like a TV show, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, then yeah, like maybe you kick the can. You have someone like him, you sign a deal, and he's a good enough worker. Like I don't know that you would at this stage in the game be like he's like the face of everything, but you could
Well, it's
have him.
ROH. Like my problem with him in AEW is, and I've been kind of saying that is like with their brand identity. I think you need to shy away from older workers. I think you have a cap on how many guys pushing 40 you can have on your roster because I think part of their appeal should be like they are the young company, and
Yeah.
when they lost their way, they got really old, and as they've started to come back as a product, they've been getting younger again,
Hmm.
and I think that's where their strength lies. And I just they don't need to be the they don't need to be TNA. They don't need to be the WWE reject company. I think they've been better about that lately. And like I wasn't thrilled with Champa, but like Champa was
Ciampa sold everybody on him because
Yeah,
the
Champa
dude
Champa.
came out there
Champa's
and worked
proven me
hard.
wrong. Yeah, he's proven he belongs.
Oh yeah, he has. I would say he's in very short fashion, like in the 2 months or so that he's been there, has basically shut down the conversation because he to the point where he had like a week ago he had I haven't seen it yet, but he had a match with Darby Allin for the world title. He legitimately was a world title contender and had a match which you know Meltzer gave 5 stars to, and people
Lost
a lot
their
of
Lost their
mind.
discussion about
mind.
Dave Meltzer, like, but it's like it's for whatever it's worth, but it's like it was from everything that I heard people say, it was a great match, whether you could give it 5 stars or not.
It's the
Like it's a
kind of
great
match
match.
that like I think cements you as a champion if people. I'll use a great example that it reminded me of. So when Okada first won the IWGP title, I wasn't sold on him. And then like because he was new and I was kind of like, well, what are they doing with this guy? But then 2 months later, I think it was his first title defense. He had it against Naito, and they had just an amazing match. It's like okay, I get it now. I accept him as a champion, and I think that's the kind of match it was.
Here's the here's how good this. Okay, there was a concern troll spot in this match where Ciampa's got Darby up. They're on the apron. It's maybe off the turnbuckles, but he does his psycho driver, which I think is oh god, I think it's an air raid crash basically. Am I
I think so.
thinking
Yeah.
of the right? Yeah, he does that to the floor with Darby. And when he gets there, he immediately starts bridging up and screaming, like reaching back towards his tailbone. I went back and watched that spot. And for all it looks to me, Ciampa's feet hit first, and he doesn't land on his tailbone. But what's he doing is he is selling how big that was, which, by the way, mad props to him.
So were
And
these
then there are
same
people like,
people?
well, why would you be doing such a dangerous spot? Why would you do something like that anyway? It's like, I don't know, he's trying to win, maybe? And he
Did
does this big spot against a guy who is
Oh yeah,
notorious for
did the,
not getting killed.
did
I
those
Like
saw
this
the
same
guy
did
keeps
those
coming
same
back.
people did those same people speak up when Randy Orton broke Cody's face?
but that was like the people like why would you? It's like have we so lost the plot, where it's like why would this guy do a dangerous move to like his opponent? Like why would he like? Because that's the point. The point is like you're supposed to basically incapacitate your opponent at a minimum for the
You're
3 seconds
supposed
it takes
to
to count 1, 2, 3.
you're
Like
supposed to be
that's what you're supposed
fighting
to do.
for like the ultimate prize in your company that a lot of people would probably consider pushing an old lady in front of a bus for to
And
get.
and as an aside, like there's many things that you could say like AEW this year has been doing right with their booking and how things have been going because it is a promotion
What
that has been getting hot is getting more popularity now,
Why would a
and
UFC fighter do anything because they might lose? Why wouldn't you just
yeah,
turtle up and like kick at someone for
yeah,
15 minutes and hope you win on points? Like that's I'm sorry, but that's just frankly fucking stupid.
Yeah.
it
Like
is.
like
But
I'm sorry, go watch boxing, go watch the NFL. Why would a fucking NFL team pass the ball more than 5 yards? Oh my god, like why would you do something dangerous when you might win? You know what I mean?
It's
What the fuck are you talking about? Like you take risks in sports all the time
be,
because
be,
you know what it is?
it's
You miss all the shots you don't take.
it's a pretty easy way to tell who actually watches your product and who shows up to concern troll. Because it's like,
well, and also
oh,
like
okay,
the
I got you.
who has had their brains poisoned by the WWE and basically 5 years again of like Roman Reigns main events, where it's like I'm gonna do a match, I'm gonna hold the title for a million years, and during my match, in between like the endless like Uso
Monologues.
bloodline like run-ins, it's I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna just monologue at my opponent, slowly, and then do more. Then it's like, yeah, that if you're used to like, oh, well, wait, why are they trying to hurt each other? Where's the monologue? Like, it's like because that's bullshit, and should never be part of like that's because they don't care about pro wrestling at that other
Yeah.
company. They don't like it. But there's the point I was going to say. Like AEW has kind of gotten hot again, and the booking has been good in my opinion. And I think you can point to many different things about that. People have pointed to like, well, MGF was good, and he was good as a champion. He probably is going to get the belt back, I guess, prior to all that at Wembley. But other people have been good too, and it's like it really. I think part of you could say like, well, they have like a younger group of people now that they're pushing, and that's true. All that's true. There's many different reasons why, but I think one of the main reasons is because, like you just said, Brad, where it's like you have your belt and you are pushing your belt as the prize. That it's not just like, oh well, MJF's feuding with Hangman, so like they're the two. Like Hangman really wants that belt. It's like no, it's been months now. It's been weeks of multiple people, a dozen different people in the company
Hmm.
being like, I want that belt, and they're gunning for them. MGF having to fight off like multiple people. Now Darby has the belt. Immediately you have Ciampa like gunning for him for the belt. Tomorrow night, I think Dynamite. I think it's Brody King. I think challenging Darby for the belt, or at least fight. It's
Yep.
like, yeah, you've sold it now. Where like now everyone in the company, or at least a large group of people that you were also like building them up too by establishing these are guys who credibly are challenging for the main title. They're not just like an undercard guy that it's like, oh well, whatever. Like, of course, my champion's going to beat him in like 5 minutes. You're selling them as like, I'm coming for that belt. I'm a threat to that belt.
Yeah,
And,
it's not
and
like
and
it's
people,
not
but people are
like
so stupid now. People are so stupid. I saw someone literally on. You're having a storyline where MJF wants the title back, right? He wants a challenge, and then Darby's like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't. He doesn't want to get the title shot again. It's like, well, I need you need something. You need to like so. MJF's logic is like, well, I need to win the TNT title so that I have something and I can like as some skin in the game. I can put that up against like, and I can get the challenge for the world title again. So what is he doing? He's like challenging Kevin Knight so he can get a title. And I saw people like, why? Why is he doing that? It's like
well,
because he wants a title. He's
Yeah.
obsessed with being like the top. So if he can't have the world title now, he's going to go for the TNT title and get his way back up to the world title. It's like this is the most simple booking you can imagine.
well, they used
It's
to do
not
that in
high concept.
WCW. Like they would, I think Ric Flair did that at one point where he needed to challenge the title. He went and got the U.S. title so he would be the number one contender, so
Yeah.
he could get a shot at it. Like it makes sense. But like I was gonna say, like again, going back to the UFC thing, like when the people are like, why are they doing dangerous stuff? Like, why would you do anything in an MMA fight again? Then why would you lock up with someone? Why would you do
Why
anything?
fight?
Yeah, why fight?
Well, oh, I could lose. Okay, then don't fight.
Yeah,
That's literally the point. If you're gonna get a fight, it's like you're gonna
Yeah.
try to do something to win.
yeah.
Otherwise, why bother?
Yeah.
It, it,
It's really dumb, but the
we've like
match
we've
was really good.
yeah.
I did see. I don't know if that happened recently, but there's a UFC fight where the guy had the guy on the ground and he did a backflip and kneed him in the face. It was pretty cool. Um, but like, no, I'll use a great example of like why you do stupid stuff. So the last pay per view, the guy tore his ACL, and his opponent said he was showing him mercy, but he was being a little pussy ass bitch and wouldn't engage with a wounded animal. He got knocked the fuck out, like clean out by a guy with a torn ACL because he didn't take a risk. He like
Yeah,
locked up. That's
I
why.
remember there was. I think it was. I don't remember what it was. I guess it was on the UFC where there's one dude for the whole match that just circles the whole time and won't do anything to the point where the guy he's up against does this and walk toward him trying to get him to do something, and the guy never moved in or engaged. And I'm like, what? Why are you even in there?
Yeah, that's why you take
But
risks though, because like I said, he wouldn't engage because he was afraid of making a mistake. Had a guy on one leg, he got knocked out because he wouldn't take a risk. Like that's why you take risks.
yeah, and so the match was really good. I can easily see the Darby story being that Darby's a fighting champion because he's like, I'm not Max. I'm gonna go out there and we're gonna do this, and it wears him down until someone takes it from him.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's totally in character for Darby. That makes perfect sense because Darby's willing to do that. By the way, the other reason that Max is challenging for the TNT title is because Kevin Knight got under his skin. The number of people that don't get that MJF's gimmick is not that he's a cocky heel. It's that he's ragingly insecure and wants everybody else to think he's a cocky heel.
Well,
And so he acts like that.
it's nice that someone actually lost the title and like wants it back.
Yeah.
Because like that's always what bothered me. Like I didn't mind the way Kofi lost the title as much as other people, but what I hated was like the very next show after he got squashed for it, he's back out throwing pancakes and stuff to the crowd like it doesn't matter.
I I hated it because it was a what's the word? Basically by doing it that way, it was a very clear message of there, you got what you wanted. Now sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
Like that's what that message was. It's like, okay, quit taking this seriously. We're done. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, great.
So my other takeaway, because this is another simp thing, so what is it with these like, and I see this with video game stuff where people act like because you're a wrestler or whatever that like suddenly, because people were simping for Selena Vega and like coming out against Sean Ross Sapp, and it's like, do you? And Meltzer actually said this in a short that they put up is really good. Like, if you're gonna say something about wrestling, the first thing you need to do is you need to replace it with any other sport or entertainment job. And if it sounds stupid for wrestling. Because do you know how many people like working on TV shows find out like via trade mags? Do you think NFL players don't, or like just sports players in general, you don't think they don't find out from the internet about trades before they happen?
So I'll give you a good example. I have a friend. I have a friend that works in the video game industry. He works for Gearbox now, but for a while, he was a GM for WoW. You know what they would do the first thing whenever they'd log in for a shift? Is they would sit down and pull up the website that had the patch notes on it so that they would know what the hell was going on. Because they didn't get it
Yeah.
from their employer. And it's like, oh, like my first takeaway is, why wouldn't you? Like, why would you not? But then, well, companies are dicks. And it doesn't, if it's an emotional, I'm lashing out because this upsets me and I'm shooting the messenger, like, that's still a crap thing to do.
Well,
But I get it.
it's even worse with her though because she's not mad that she found out from Sean Ross Sapp. That's not what she's mad about. She's mad and people are defending her because he announced it before she could do a video on it or whatever, which is like, get fucked. Like that's even
Get your ass in gear then. You're the one who missed the window.
well,
If
it's
you knew
not
it was
his
coming,
not
do something about
it's
it.
not his it's not his job to pat you on the bum and let you do whatever you want and just, like you think in any other avenue people get to do that. Like any other walk of life people get to do that.
The only way you get to dictate that sort of stuff is if you are working in collaboration with someone. If you're working with them and you're like, hey, I'm going to do this thing, I would appreciate it if you. I'm going out here and doing the match. We're finishing the match with a figure four. Could you all not work the leg in your match?
Yeah, that's different
Okay, you
though.
know what? Yeah, but these two don't work together.
Mm-hmm.
So why would he do that?
Yeah. It's not his problem.
It's not his fault. It's not his problem.
And there's been literally hundreds of people that have been released before that have not gotten this.
Yeah.
And then her dumbass is like talking about how she wants to wrestle in Japan and wrestle Sama, Kamatani, and Marigold. And it's like, oh my god, you dumbass. You don't even know what you're talking about.
It's clear that she was not. She's well. First off, like her thing is like, oh, when I was like United States
Should I bring
champion, I
up
wanted to do
the Damo tweet?
it. Some wrestlers are stupid. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Hey, first off, like when she shares her claim, like, oh, when I was like workhorse champion, I wanted to defend it in like Japan and Mexico. It's like where, like with who? Because the WWE, they don't do that. They don't just let you
No.
travel around and partner with other companies. Like they don't do that. Like they don't. It's and then she's like talking about Saya
She said her name wrong.
yeah,
She
mispronouncing her
called her
name.
Sama.
Yeah, saying like the wrong promotion that she works at. It's like you're speaking from ignorance. And I feel like the whole like against maybe she has I think she probably has a personal I think both her and Black have some sort of personal beef with Sean Rass Sapp and more like Selena.
You mean
Someone called him out, but I felt it was deflection.
you mean about um a certain someone's in a like back injury?
Well,
There,
maybe I
so
don't.
there was a funny Simpsons meme, which is a great account you should follow. They posted one from The Simpsons where it's like Mr. Burns is like in a cryogenic thing, but it's Tony Khan over like Alistair Black in like the chamber. And he's like, "Don't worry, we'll sign you as soon as you figure out how to lay on your back for 3 seconds." And then it's like Professor Frank and these other scientists like, we figured out how to get him to 2 seconds.
Mm. It's that if we're talking about the releases, like to me, that was the most hilarious one to me.
Oh, it was hilarious, yeah.
And again, it's like it's not. Is it nice? Should I feel bad about people losing their jobs? It's like yes, generally.
He's reaping what he sows, though. I think,
but he is reaping what he sowed. Like there was all sorts of rumors at the time that he was one of the very malcontents in AEW. That
Meltzer said he talked to people in AEW, and it's like he said like Andrade was like a mixed reaction. He said like AEW like people are 100% negative on Black.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like if you recall, where he talked the cancer from AEW, and it's like people assume talking about Punk, and he could have been, but it's like, well, what if he wasn't? What if he was actually talking about people like Aleister Black or Rusev, people who clearly like didn't want to be there, even though it's like you signed a contract. People who maybe big lead where it's like I don't want to do jobs, I don't want to work, or just were difficult to deal with. There are people I've heard people insinuate, which I think we can probably believe it, is that back in the day when you had Triple H and Regal, let's not like give him a pass. People like give him a pass, but when you had all the contract tampering that was going on in AEW in the past, that Swerve Strickland, they tried to do it with him, and he like was like, Now screw you, Big Nose, and then went and even like told on them. Tony Khan, like
I'll at least give
I saw it insinuated that Aleister Black was one of those people that it's like he
I'll
was
at
being
least give
contract
Regal
tampered with.
credit. Regal was at least a professional and like put all of his effort in while he was there.
I guess, but I don't like. I mean, I think again, Regal gets past. Regal basically, when Tony Khan's mother was seriously ill with a stroke, he jumped at the opportunity to go to him and be like, "Oh, well, your mom's sick. You understand that family means a lot. I really would love to get out of my contract to go to NXT to be with my son." And it's like, fuck you. Like using like a
I
guy's
don't
personal. I don't know. Like I don't feel good about that. Like you can use a
so
man's
my
personal
defense
tragedy
my
to like
defense
get out.
my defense of him, I think the timing was just bad, but my defense of him, and I will defend him. I don't necessarily think he might have been tampering, but my thing with Regal is I think he truly thought he was going to retire with WWE. Like I think his plan was to be there till retirement, train people, work with his son, obviously, which I do think was a real motivating factor. And then he gets released, and I think like when you think like your life's going to go a certain way, I do think that's like a shock. So he went to AEW to work, and then Triple H got back in power, and I think he saw a way to get back what he originally thought was going to be his life and go back to NXT. So like for that, I don't necessarily blame him because I understand what I think his thought process to that is, which I think is he thought he was going to retire there, and then they fucked him. And then his friend came into power and he could get his job back and work with his son. Like I do think like getting to like hang out with your son every day, it would be like a nice
I
motivating factor.
I guess I'm gonna say, like, even though I can understand a motivation, like, I'm not gonna necessarily gonna cut you a pass. If you're like, I'm broke, I guess I need to rob someone for that. It's like, no, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, but
Like,
that's different.
you
That's
don't need to
different
stick a gun
though.
in someone's face. No, I don't. I mean, I'm using a very like, you know, uh, hyperbolic,
Yeah.
like, where it's a little more obviously extreme, but it's like, yeah, you're not supposed to do this. Maybe you had a good motivation for it, but it's like, contract that if you're naked and dress about shit and then trying to manipulate a guy who's at a very low point because his mother is seriously ill just to get something that you wanted to do. Oh, good. Like, that's great that you want to go hang out with your son. I get it, but you signed a contract. And that's the thing that goes back, like the Black, Rusev, whatever. It's like, you signed the fucking contract. You don't like it? Don't
See,
sign the
but
contract.
like at least I feel like he at least handled it like a professional, unlike them. And like I said, I think his motivations are much more understanding than Black or Rusev, who got released and chose to sign a deal, and then we're trying to big league people, and it's like, well,
I
you're
guess
fucking working here, like.
yeah, I mean, I guess if you're, I guess it's a matter of opinion. If you're trying to contract tamper, I'm not going to perceive
I
you
don't. Well,
as
we don't
being like
know.
you're handling it professionally. All right, I'm assuming that he was. Like, to me, all the evidence points to like that actually is what he was doing.
Yeah, but see, I actually
And I
think
think people like him and respect him, so they like give him
I
a
think
pass, so they don't really make a big deal with it. But I actually think that's what's going on. So if he was doing that, let's
I don't
be
think it
devil's
was him
advocate.
though. I think it was a certain other washed talent that ended up in TNA and didn't get a WWE job. I think it was a certain Bobby Fish that was doing it, trying to get back in,
I mean, he probably was.
because he was also around at that time.
I
And
I personally
remember,
feel like Regal probably was involved in
remember,
that.
remember,
But I'm
remember
not gonna give him a pass
dipshit.
because he's smarter. He's smarter
Remember
than Black and
dipshit.
Rusev.
Remember again. I hate to defend him. Remember dipshit thought he was going to be a big man and like shoot on CM Punk and be difficult, and then he was shocked Pikachu face when they pretty much fired him for it. And it didn't go
Yeah.
over well because he's a dumbass.
Well, it's also like like you're part of a unit, sure, but you're also like 50 when all these other guys are. This happened years ago now, so all those guys maybe have been like 40 at the time, but like you're 50, like 10 years older than him even then.
Oh, he was washed
So
in
it's
his
like you
AEW run.
are, yeah, but you're very very like expendable. I don't know what you thinking. Like,
I just think, to me, I think Regal is like not in the same category as like Rusev or Black. I think they're in like a special category. Because even like Andrade, like I bet Andrade was a little difficult to deal with, but I also think he handled his shit properly at the end.
I think
And that's why he came
what's
back, and I think he seems like he's been very appreciative.
and
Yeah,
they're using him.
The Andrade
Yeah.
stuff was in that time where there seemed to be this prevailing wisdom of, if you're a pain in the ass, maybe they'll cut you and then we can bring you back. And when that didn't work, it seems like someone had a good talk with him and been like, knock it off.
Well,
That doesn't work.
and let's be fair here, his biggest blow up was with Sammy Guevara, and like everyone was having
Oh,
a blow up
Sammy
with
was, well,
having a
because
blow.
Sammy was being a dickhead.
Yeah. So
Um,
I don't know, how overblown that was, because that's the thing with a lot of like the AEW stories, especially in that era, is I don't necessarily believe the severity of a lot of them, because that was like the start of grifting and like blowing everything out of proportion.
so one little piece of context that I found, because I don't know why I go looking for it. But considering that Sammy got into altercations with what, two or three people
Eddie
in that time period,
Kingston,
Eddie,
Seth Rollins.
Andrade, and
someone else.
somebody else at least chewed him out. What? So
Could have been one of the Hardys because I think he concussed like Jeff, right? So it could have been.
maybe, yeah.
I don't know that for a fact.
So what somebody said was, if you go back and you watch Sammy's vlogs at the time, he's pranking bro with whoever his buddy was at the time. And I don't remember his buddy's name, but apparently that dude got cut.
And
And I mean, like,
I
some
think they
shitty ass pranks.
I think after that they said, okay, well, you're going to hang out with Dustin, and he's going to beat you into shape whether you like it or not. And Dustin smacked him a couple times and said, stop being a dumbass. And he's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll stop.
So
Also, he became a dad, which tends to mellow guys out.
somebody got in his face and was like, you have got to knock this off, because this is three people who've beefed with you, and yeah, they've gotten punished. You're getting punished too because you're part of it. Okay, we take all that, put it together, and Andrade comes back and he's playing ball, he's doing business, and he's working hard. He
Well,
knows he's on the way out, and he's working hard in that Continental Classic.
Well,
So
I think why he's different this time is I think Tony earned his respect the first time
I think.
on the way
Well,
out.
and I'll say two other things about Andrade. One, like when he was leaving at the time, he was leaving to go back to the WWE with his then wife Charlotte. So it's
Yeah.
like you have a motivation to want to go back. But the other thing is, I think what we've learned about Andrade is like Andrade, I think, is just one of those people in wrestling, and there's a lot of them over the years. But he's just one of those people, like, he's difficult.
Well,
He's a
let's
hothead. He's difficult to deal with. He can be a little bit of a
he
prima
was a
donna.
and he came up in Lucha Libre and saying a luchador is hard to deal with is like saying water
Yeah.
is wet. So
Someone when Andrade, who was it? It was either Lucha Blog or Rob Viper, but one
Rob
of them did like
Viper,
okay, it was Rob. Like he did a whole tweet where it's like he made it seem like it was someone else, and
La
it's like,
Parka,
oh, by the way, this
LA
wasn't about
Park,
this person.
sorry.
It was, oh yeah, it was LA Park. It was actually about Andrade, and it's like Andrade is just like a difficult person, and partly he can get away with that because he's exceptionally talented.
Yeah.
Like he's a very good worker.
I just think that's a
Like
luchador thing, because think about like Roosh.
there's a lot of luchadors that are like that. Absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
that's like think about all the times like there have been exoduses between AAA and CMLL. Like it's just that's why I think WWE's kind of playing in waters they're not used to, because like they're just difficult. I think it's like a built-in cultural thing to Lucha Libre to be a little bit difficult.
because I'd be willing to bet the impression is, if you're not a little bit difficult, people walk all over you
Yeah.
because they assume you're a doormat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say because I've critiqued people like John Cena. I always said, because people bash Hogan because like he was selfish. Like, well, you kind of have to be selfish as a top guy because you have to protect yourself. And like I think Cena like hurt himself because he wasn't selfish enough. I think other guys have like hurt themselves when they're not selfish enough, because I know that doesn't work for me, brother. But like I think Cody's gotten hurt by not doing that enough. But like if they come in and it's like totally counterproductive, and you have the pull, you need to be like, no, that makes me look like a bitch. I'm not doing that.
That's something that, in hindsight, I think Steve Austin was probably better than most about, because they'd want to do something. Steve Austin's like, no, man, that's that no.
Yeah.
Like the thing with Jeff Jarrett, he's like, no, I'm not doing a program with Jeff. Number one, he had beef with Jarrett from territory stuff, but then number two, it's like, dude, no, you're not elevating him out of nowhere to go up against me. That doesn't work. And honestly, Austin walking out on that match where he was supposed to put Brock over was frankly the right idea, because that should have been a pay-per-view match they were going to give away for free on Raw because they just needed something to do. It's like, I understand Austin's a lot more. Hogan, I don't give a pass to at all, because Hogan, was actively sabotaged other people for it.
Yeah, but I think
John Cena had some of that too.
but
John Cena had some asshole in there too.
I'm
The
not
word
gonna give.
nice speech.
John
Yeah.
Cena only fucked up the one thing really bad, in my opinion.
The NXT, the
Nexus.
NXT stuff. The Nexus, sorry.
And that was,
I'm not gonna-
I think he just, and I think with that situation, he even fessed up afterwards. He wouldn't do it again because they, like, I think Edge and Jericho fought with him and told him that wasn't going to work and he was going to bury them. And he just had this idea. And I think Jericho said, like, yeah, it happened. And then he came right back. He's like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna defend Hogan, because he did sabotage people and he did things that actively like hurt other people or hurt the business with how he was. But the one small caveat I will give him is that he came up in an era where it was, you're probably right to be a little more like paranoid or protective of your spot and not letting someone like, try and take your spot from you. I think he was a little more paranoid, but he also, remember, like, from when he got trained, what was in the story, like when he was training with Hiro Matsuda, like they broke his leg to test, like, oh, you would know
Yeah.
the business, like, here, like, if that legit did happen, they broke his leg in training and all that, and he still came back. I could see that messing with his
Yeah.
mind, where it's like, I can't trust any of these assholes. So when I get on top and I can be on top, then I'm gonna, like,
So I don't
good.
know how I feel about that story. I don't know if that story is true, but I will say they did do shit like that back in the day, because if you read Foley's book, he'll talk about them chasing prospects off. So I will say Hogan is a liar, but it could have happened.
Unrepentant
Yeah,
liar.
but I will say it could have happened. It could have happened because I think it was Undertaker. I think paid, was it Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer?
It was Buzz Sawyer.
He paid him like $500 to train him, and Sawyer just left town.
Taught him how to lock up and then left town the next day.
Yeah, and then he had to get who trained him after that? Wasn't Rip,
I don't remember who it was, but somebody was like, "Man, he shouldn't have done it. I'll train you."
Yeah, but like shit like that happens all the time. And think about that, like you stiffed the Undertaker.
So Hogan has such a history of fabricating stuff that if he had said the sky was blue, I still would have went and checked. I know that happened, because there's enough stories about guys who would, you get down in the Greco-Roman position on all fours and they drop a knee across your Achilles to break your ankle, and then if you come back, you really want it, and it's like, the fuck would I come back to you?
Yeah, you know what I'm surprised. You know what I'm surprised never happened, because it'd probably be what I do if some dude did that to me. I'd come back. Yeah, I'd come back with a fucking gun.
Yeah,
and be like, okay, who's the bitch now, fucker?
So, like, by comparison's sake, when I was brought in by somebody who was already in.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, and he's like, I like this guy. I think he could do well. Can we see how he does? And I did well enough that they were like, oh shit, hey, we've got something here. But people who just showed up to train, we didn't injure them, but we did put them through a little bit more. Not really to try and run them off, but to be like, hey, this isn't easy. This is hard. You should experience the hard up front.
I think
we're not wasting everybody's time.
I think what you were talking about, though, you were kind of also testing them for basic physical competence to do it too.
Some of it, but it's like,
I think it was Flair, though. Was it Flair? It could have been Greg Valentine, because Greg Valentine wouldn't have. But I think it was like Flair. Like they didn't even tell him it was worked until like he was going out for his first match.
I don't know. I do not remember that story where it comes from.
I think they did that to Piper too. I know that's not like an uncommon thing I've heard. I mean, I know I thought Greg Valentine, but like no, his dad would have told him.
Look, if you're getting, I have a hard time with if you're getting trained to do it, and they don't tell you it's work. Then how the, you know, are you calling spots, right, or anything like that? I've just got a hard
I don't
time
know
with
if
it.
you
I'm
if you
not
read
saying
some
that
of
it's right or wrong,
if
but
you read some of that stuff, and like a lot of like the stuff like Vern did to people was corroborated by multiple people, but like some of the stuff they were doing in like the 70s and stuff was just straight up abuse. I'm gonna be
yeah,
honest.
yeah. Okay, the stories. Here's a different story. Nobody got injured, but I saw one guy who was training people, and it was just this group of folks that showed up. We want to be wrestlers. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to start training you then. And whenever they were not in the ring doing something, he had them at ringside doing free squats. Why? Because they just showed up, derping their way in. We want to do this. And he's like, all right, I'm going to make you work for it. And anybody who was like, if somebody quit and gave an excuse, he'd be like, go sit down. But if somebody was trying and they stopped for a second, goes, why do you stop? Said, I'm going to go again just a second. I just need a minute. He'd leave them alone. Right? There's a certain
Mentality.
mental resilience.
But there's a difference between that and like Bill DeMott too.
Oh yeah, yeah, fat piece of shit.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Anyway,
But I think there's a difference between like stuff like that and I think just like being abusive. Because I think there's like a well, okay, like we're gonna do this. Because even doing the squats is gonna be like I just want to see if you have the leg strength because you're gonna need leg strength for this. So I just want to make sure before we start doing stuff, I'm not gonna snap your chicken legs or something. Like I
yeah.
get that,
Or
but
it's do you have the mentality that you're going to
yeah.
keep pushing?
So I will say I think Hogan is probably lying, but it's plausible. Like it's not out of the realm of possibility that that happened.
Yeah.
What I mean in Japan, it was I don't know. It was Hase I think was haunted by that forever because he told someone that he would look out for their kid, and then he got like beaten to death in like the dojo or something.
Oh God.
I don't remember which one it was, but I know that was like a thing in the
I
early
think,
90s.
I think, yeah, no, that happened. And I think Kali was the one. Great Kali. I think
No, it was. I think it
he.
was. I think it was before that because the Kali thing happened in the what that happened in America. I think that happened in like the West Coast. In
You
the West
remember
Coast group.
the rotund promoter and Beyond the Mat?
Yeah, it was his company.
Yeah.
Roland
I can't.
Alexander,
Yes, that's it. I could not draw the name up,
APW, I
but
think it was, but I think it happened. I think it happened there.
and it was a. If I remember the actual details correctly, it was kind of this weird freakish thing.
It wasn't Colley's fault, I don't think.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. Is that
Because I think they had
yeah.
him go and run drills when he shouldn't have been. Like he had already gotten.
Oh, you're right. I'm confusing that with the Kali thing. It was in 1995,
Okay.
and it was a trainee named Gunpei who died following a training session with Kensuke Sasaki, where Sasaki, acting as a trainer, subjected Gunpei to excessive stiff training, specifically repeated brutal suplexes because he felt Gunpei was not putting enough effort. And Hase had recruited Gunpei to the dojo, assuring his parents of the safety following the death. Hase was reportedly disgusted by the incident and subsequent cover-up by New Japan management, which led to his departure from the company.
That happened.
Okay.
That happened in sumo.
Wow.
In the it's like early 2000s. I think they killed a trainee in like a similar way, and that's what like hurt sumo in Japan too. Like it's an issue.
Wait, that's Great Sasuke, right?
No. Kensuke Sasaki is was Power Warrior, and
Oh, okay.
he's a
Okay.
much bigger guy.
I was getting ready to say, man, I was getting ready to be super disappointed.
No, Great Sasuke has been like mostly like an M Pro guy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
Kensuke Sasaki was a big deal in the 90s and the aughts, at least for both New
Yeah.
Japan and for
So I
Noah.
think he's one of the only guys that has won the Triple Crown, the IWGP, and the GHC. To give you an idea,
I think so.
he might be the only.
I think
No,
Muto would have done it.
and Yuji Nagata might have done it.
Yes, Nujigata. Yes,
Satoshi Kojima might have done it too. 'Cause I think he won the GHC a couple years ago.
He could have. I don't know if he won the GHC.
If he did it recently.
But he could have.
Yeah, I think he did recently. Because New Japan
Did-
was helping them for a while.
Did Vader hold the Triple Crown? Because if so, Vader would probably have been.
He didn't hold the GHC, I don't think. He did hold the Triple Crown though. I don't think he held the GHC.
I thought that Vader held the GHC.
But I don't think he ever held the IWGP.
He didn't? I thought he did.
I think most of his run came before the IWGP existed.
I'll look this up now. I think Kojima did. Nagata did.
And
Muto
I
did.
know Sasuke did.
Sasaki.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think Sasaki.
Sasuke.
Sasuke is different.
Yeah.
Kensuke Sasaki.
He's been in some of the WCW stuff we've watched too, because he's come over here and there. But yeah, so that was that.
You're wrong, Brad. Vader did hold the IWGP and he held the Triple Crown, but he did not hold the GHC.
Okay. Yeah, because he would have been.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought that he did hold the GHC.
Well, I think he only worked like a year in Noah. He wasn't there super long because I think he was starting to wind down.
Yeah, he won the tag title with Scorpio, but
they would have been like the second champions, I think, though, or like the first or second. But yeah, because like they started in like late 2000, and he was really winding down by like 2002 for the most part. Well, do we want to hit our matches of the week?
Oh,
Well,
hold on. Can we talk? I know we're like late, but can we talk just real quickly about some of the other releases? Just briefly, because I know we talked about Malachi. Malachi is the most hilarious one to me because he
was
like
a year
for AEW just to go back to WWE, and they did fuck all with him for like a year, and he got fired like a day before he like hit a year in the WWE. And they did nothing with him of consequence in that year, and then he gets fired. And it's like now you probably can't go back to AEW because I think has been gotten better about signing ex-WWE people, but also like even if he said before, the rumor is that there's only one person he wouldn't hire back, which isn't even like Punk. Allegedly, it's not even Punk. He would hire Punk back, but it's probably like you shouldn't probably hire Aleister Malachi back because. One, he's old and he's older at this point.
And he's broken down.
And he's broken down, what is he going to give you? But also, like, it seems like the locker room doesn't. Because when he got fired, people like Sean Dean, who's actually like part of the infantry and
oh no, someone tweeted at him after this, and he's like, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah. But Sean Dean, like behind the scenes, like Sean Dean, he's obviously an on-air talent. But Sean Dean also does a lot, I think, behind the scenes.
Yeah,
like he seems like he's actually probably.
He does a lot of talent relation stuff.
Yes, I think he's tight with Tony Khan. So, like, if he's saying this, that actually speaks a lot. And also people like MGF. MGF posted like a thing, which was when Ricochet. I think it was Ricochet. So when somebody, it wasn't Ricochet, but somebody when they were coming into AEW, and Max Caster like did a tweet where it's like we don't want him. Like MJF just like screenshotted that and posted like regarding Aleister Black, like we don't want him. So it doesn't seem like your roster wants him. But it's just funny to me that a guy like you're right, like he's reaping what he sows. But other people who got released, there are a bunch of people that mostly I've never heard of from NXT, whatever. Alba Fire got released. Some people have said
that's Kaylee Ray.
Kaylee Ray.
She might get signed.
She could get signed. Some people said like that would be a good signing, and like she would benefit the women's division if you want to.
But she's old too, though. Unfortunately.
No, she's like early 30s.
Okay.
32-33.
Okay.
Zoe Stark, who
Is injured, which kind of sucks,
is
but
I allegedly heard like she had just got medically cleared.
yeah,
So
and
she in theory,
she should not be signed because she sucks. She's not good. She has no charisma, and then she whines
she
about haters on social media all the time.
I don't think that they should sign her, but I mean, she in theory. But she also like I think it was like an AC. She like destroyed her knee
Yeah, but she
on Raw,
wasn't.
so it's like, how good is she gonna? What is she like now? Like
But she
we
doesn't
talked
have
about a
charisma though. That's her problem. Like that's been her problem in WWE. She has no charisma, and she's not like a good enough worker to overcome that. But then, like I said, she cries about haters on social media. So you don't
yeah.
want that kind of worker on your roster.
Uh,
Because
let's see, Andre.
once you're on social media and you're not getting over and you're crying about haters, it's over. Like you're a failure.
Yeah.
Like in your company. So
Andre Chase, who was forever in NXT, GCU, got
I
released. Like he
I
seems like he's
hope they
probably
don't touch him because Chase U
yeah,
sucked.
yeah. I think he's probably he seems like he's might be a nice guy, but you don't need him. Like all of the Wyatt Six got released.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I feel
might
bad.
bring in Eric Rowan for like some special stuff because I liked when they brought him in to fight the House of Black when Penta and Pac did. I thought that was
Yeah,
cool and it was a good use of him, but like
Roman seems to be good, but I it's you want to for like not here there, okay, but you don't need him like permanently on your roster. Like
no, he
I don't know
works
where
as a
you.
guest spot guy, and I think he would be good. He's good
Yeah,
for the indies. Like Dexter Loomis is absolute garbage, and he can't get over anywhere.
he's not good.
Joe Gacy maybe for Ring of Honor, but like I don't really think Joe Gacy
I
has
don't
much
think
going
so.
for him, and I don't know how he
Yeah,
kept a job for as long as he did.
Bo Dallas. I feel bad for him because it's like you got you know to the main roster to do this basically a tribute gimmick to your late brother, but
Well,
outside
he
of
got his
way
job back to do the
yeah
Uncle Howdy thing.
way back in the day, I thought he was slightly entertaining with the whole like
Bo Lever
Bo
thing.
Lever, Bo Lever
He's
thing, but
just not a big league guy. That's his problem.
he's just he's not someone that I would sign.
He's
Like
not.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
he's not that great in the ring. He doesn't really have charisma. Like he's not going to get over. I think is the problem.
I don't I don't think that, for example, I'll use a comparison. I don't think he is as good of a worker and can get the value that a guy like Juice Robinson can give you.
Yeah.
But I don't. As much as I do like Juice Robinson. I don't even think Juice Robinson is like a main guy. He's perfectly fine as like a mid card guy, and he's entertaining.
Secondary
Um,
title guy. He can do.
yeah, but he's not. I don't think he would even that level.
You could
So
probably main event a B level pay per view with Juice as a challenger. I think if you did it right. But
I don't know about that. But Nick,
like an off brand like pay per view, like maybe like a Forbidden Door or like something that's like really low level. I think he would be
maybe
you could get by if the undercard like if it was co-maining with something strong like let's say like Kenny Omega and like Will Ospreay or something like that, it would probably do fine. But that is like his ceiling.
you're probably a little more
And I'm saying you'd have to do it
favorite
absolutely
Juice
right,
than
and
me.
that's probably a step above what he should be. But I think
Yeah. Nikki Cross, I felt was a good worker at points, but I don't think you need to bring her in. No
she'd
offense to
be.
her.
I would maybe if
You
I was TNA pick her up. I think she would give them some.
you could probably bring Nikki Cross in, but she wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm gonna push her like the the TBS title or like your women's title. But she could be fine as like like your mid card
Or an
gatekeeper, I
ROH.
guess. Look. No offense. She'd be a better acquisition than whatever they're doing with Diana Perazzo, who it didn't get over, works a different style than works for them, and also just whines and complains on social media all nonstop that she's not getting
Yeah.
booked.
Didn't they send
Real
her
quick,
to like Mexico and they were like, "Don't send her back, please."
yeah, she had like a really shitty match to the point and didn't work well to the point where they're like, no, thank you, we don't need to see her again. Um, Santos Escobar, apparently, like the word that came out today is that CMLL already like wants to get him. So if they do,
I would
then it's
sign
like, well,
him. To a two-way just to protect him from them trying to
you could
their
do that.
fuckery.
But like, if he does sign with CMLL, then it's like if you want to use him, you can just do like you said, 2-way, or you can just partner with CMLL to have him for shows. I don't know that you'd want him. He's not an Andrade level talent, but he's hilarious that they like his contract like was ran out and they got freaked out that he would sign with AEW, so like sign a new contract, and here we are like 6 months later
Yeah.
you release him.
I
But
don't even know if it's 6 months later.
maybe. We talked about Apollo Cruz, Black and Zelina. A lot. Speaking of Zelina, like I've heard a lot of stories where she's just not well liked, and she seems like a not pleasant person. So
No.
you want to
And
avoid
she
someone like
can't
that.
work for shit.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
other thing. She's not a good worker, and she doesn't have any of the other
It
things
seems
that you
like
would want
it
to like
seems like the
justify.
matches I've seen with her, she's a nightmare to work with because she sucks, but it also seems like she potatoes the fuck out of you. So not
Yeah,
only is the match gonna suck, but you're gonna get the shit beat out of you because she can't work.
yeah,
And it's not going to
uh,
look good either.
Yeah.
yeah. Kyrie Zane, is
Which
incredible talent, but she's also coasted like for the last few years, and it seems like
they
she's probably
someone posted
man
stats of her like
settled.
main roster run and it was absurd. Like I think
This
she's won like one singles match on like the main roster or something like absolutely ridiculous. No, it
since
was
they
like
brought her back,
five. It was like 5 times and like
since
three
they
of them
brought
were
her
dark
back like
matches.
2 3 years ago, like her actual like win percentage is like stupid
Never
terrible.
challenged for a singles title on the main roster between both
It,
runs.
but she's a good worker. It's just like that. I guess the other story that came out today was that it wasn't even necessarily like they fired her so much that her contract is up in like 4 or 5 months, but she had expressed to them that she wanted to move back to Japan. So they're basically just like, all right, well, we're not gonna. They either released her early or they're just like, well, we're not gonna use you
Yeah.
until your contract runs out. So even if I don't see AEW being able to get her,
It
especially if
depends on if she
it's true that
stays
she
with
wants
Stardom, I think.
it's true that she wants to go back to Japan. It's like, well, what are you going to do? Like, if like she could sign with Stardom, that would be where she would get the most money. And in theory, like you could use her through your partnership with New Japan, who owns the parent company owns Stardom.
You know, they get Stardom
But
talent all the time too because
yeah,
Hat Man's gone.
but she may want to sign with Rossi, Hatman, and Marigold. I don't know,
So
or maybe
I
she may
don't
be
know
like
about
mostly done.
I've been thinking about that and I don't know because like the thing is I would think that would be a viable option for her because it keeps the Fed path open and like, you know, she would be loyal to Rossi. Um but the problem is that I would see it and I don't know if she's thinking about this though, but like she get bigger paydays of Stardom because she could get
Yeah,
AEW dates. And the other thing is like just as we saw with Utami, and even Mayu to a degree, is your profile goes way down in Marigold right now.
yeah.
Like, cause like think about Mirai, who I know you're not a fan of, but her profile instantly shot up when she left and started working with TJPW.
Yeah.
And then
And
you have this old pervert calling his talent fat too, like publicly.
he got Utami. I was mispronouncing her name.
I just
Hayashishita.
skip it because I can never remember, so I just
It's
say
difficult to
Tommy.
pronounce it, but Utami, like, and you put the belt on her and everything like that, and now she's leaving.
And
And it doesn't seem like
she pretty much just said like I'm tired of being responsible for green talent that
yeah.
beats me up. I just want to go challenge
But
myself and like
you brought her in, and it's like you made her like your big star, and you immediately start talking about like, oh, she's gained weight, and it's like, dude, like, first off, that's your champion, and that's like your concern, like, and I have to I point out like if you're, it's like it's not like she's like 400 pounds, like.
no.
And it's like, why are you so concerned? Like, who cares?
Well,
It's
that's a
wrestling.
private
Like,
conversation too. That's a private conversation that you can I think is a valid conversation to have in wrestling because what we've talked about before because people get real weird with this especially with women, but it is a meat industry, but that is a private conversation where you pretty much just say, "Hey, look, I understand, but I'm a little concerned like about your weight. Like could we deal with that?" And you do that privately and very sensitively. But
eh,
I do think I do the way he handled it is wrong, but I do think that is a fair thing to say to a talent is, hey,
Okay,
you need to lose some
but
weight because
it,
it is an aesthetic it is an aesthetic industry.
that's that's true, but I guess that's like the problematic thing where it's like, is it affecting her wrestling ability?
Yeah, but it can be
No.
just aesthetic. Like the thing is though, like I think because you do it in like it's happened in football where there's like, hey, you're a fat fuck. Like you need to like per your contract. I think they used to do that with like Ted Washington. It's like, hey, fatty, you need to be a certain weight. I think they're doing it with Zion Williamson right now. Is I think his
Oh
contract
well,
he
yeah.
has to.
Well, he got to be a big boy. Like
One,
yeah, they.
it was affecting his career because he was
Well,
having all
that's the
these
thing.
leg problems.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like, is it affecting your actual like what you're doing? If for her in her case, like in ring, or is it affecting Rossi's ability to sell like photo books of you? And it's
Well,
like I think that that's what's happening. Like
but the thing is though, that is a fair thing if the aesthetic is becoming bad to say to them, hey, you need to lose some weight. But what I'm saying though is that is a private conversation to have behind the scenes,
oh
not
no,
to say publicly.
it to me like that. The fact that you're doing it publicly, it's not even
Yeah,
like
that's
you
the
like
problem.
act. It's like yeah, you were like you were intentionally doing this to disrespect her, and
Yeah,
like
because
basically put her on blast. Like fix this issue.
like if I was running a promotion like of men and my champion was getting fat, I would probably take him aside and be like, "Hey, fatty, you need to lose
Ah,
20 pounds, or we're gonna have to do something because like I can't have you at the top of my promotion with this big old gut and you're not like a fat
yeah,
guy." Like
sure.
I do think that is a fair okay, Shad was a worker. So Shad, let's say you
Hmm.
were my champion, and let's say you were gaining some weight, and I did take you aside after show and say like, "Hey, look, man, I know life's tough, but like I need you to drop 15 pounds to like because you're starting to look bad on the cards. Like, I mean,
Well,
would
and
you
if I turned to you and said, "Look, man, I'm trying to. I don't know what's going on," then it could be like, "All right,
yeah, that
let's see what we can find to help you out with it or something."
yeah.
But yeah, there's the cosmetics in it, and I know that. It's
But
that.
I would expect that though if I was like in a athletic field or especially wrestling, like even acting.
Oh well, unless you're Marlon Brando, and then you show up and you don't know the lines and you're out of shape, so they have to just put the camera all the way in on your face and have cue cards behind it or something.
Or it was the lead actor on Psych started getting fat and they just had him in jean jackets all the time to like cover him up. And it would be
Did
like
it
90
really?
degrees. Yeah, the last couple seasons he was getting a little like he was getting some extra chins in there.
I mean, sometimes your genetics just
Yeah.
crap out on you.
But like the problem is he said it publicly. That's where the problem lies and he wasn't being productive with it. He was just being an asshole and a pervert
Yeah,
cuz it was interfering with his goon time.
yeah.
But I think she'll probably sign Marigold, but I think if I was advising her on her career, I would say, "Hey, you should go back to Stardom."
She's I think 37 turning 38. Like which not to make an age argument, but it's like especially if you're like a woman in the business, like you may be like, I'm gonna wind down my career. Like I don't need to be like grinding out there.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you know,
she did have that chunk when she was gone though, where she wasn't working like a full-time schedule. So I think she
yeah.
probably has a little less mileage. But I would be thinking about at 37. I'd be thinking about my end game too, because you don't want to be doing it till you're 60.
Yeah, exactly. Like she so and the last names are the Motor City Machine Guns,
Which
who
I don't know why they even signed them.
there was a lot of people I saw some people being like, well, what did you expect? Like you shouldn't have gone to WWE. They don't respect tag teams and they wouldn't respect you. And
I
like,
think
oh,
they
that's
were.
true.
I think they were trying to get trainer jobs though. Is I think what.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Some people had postulated that it's like, well, you know, they are considered and are probably one of the most important and influential tag teams in the business of the last like 20 years. And it's like, yeah, there are actually a lot of younger guys who probably did see their matches and the things that they did, and it did influence them. So they should get the respect because they're both phenomenal workers. They're in their 40s now. Some people postulate that it's like, well, they just wanted to add. They wanted to basically for the legacy. We want our WWE run. I think you're right there, Brad. I think that they probably thought like, yeah, like we'll do we'll do a run for like a year or two
Yeah.
on the main roster, and then we'll get like trainer gig spots in NXT. But now they don't even have that. So
Yeah,
the
because
rumors say,
that's why oh, I can't think of his name. He did the Perfect 10 gimmick. I can't think of his
Sean
name.
oh,
Spears.
Dylan,
Oh yeah,
Sean
Sean
Spears,
Spears.
yeah.
Sean Spears went back and he's pretty much a trainer. And Ethan Page seems like he's just fine being in NXT helping people. So I mean, like that
No,
is a
he's
viable
called up.
thing.
They just brought him up to the main roster.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know how that was going to go though because I don't see him getting over. But
I
whatever.
think Alex Shelley straight up said they were hoping to get trainer jobs after the fact.
And we've talked about that on the show before, where like if you go to the WWE now, because if it's a matter of money, TKO is going to lowball you. We've known that, and people have said that. Like people who are in the know or people like in the company have been like, that's their MO, and they did it with UFC, so it's no surprise. Like they've done it with UFC fighters, and they've like destroyed the pay there. They're trying to now destroy boxing too.
Oh no,
Because Zuffa
boxing's already fucking destroyed. Like that's what people. The thing with boxing is unless you're like the top, like 0.001%, like you get fucked because that's why MMA gets so much talent because like as bad as UFC is, like in MMA you get paid better until you get to the very tippy top. Like
maybe they used to.
unless you're main eventing pay-per-views, like you don't get shit. Like I think starting out as a boxer, you get paid $100 per round and you're usually fighting 4-round fights to start.
All right, well, maybe that was the case with MMA. Maybe it still does, but
No, it's like boxing.
TKO has basically started to ruin or has ruined MMA. They want to
Yeah,
also ruin boxing even worse than it is.
you
But
could.
they lowball.
Yeah, they do.
They lowball people, and that's translated to wrestling too. They've been lowballing people for the WWE generally. So and Tony Khan has proven that if he wants you, he will pay money. And so the people that have declined his big money offers have gone to the WWE. It's been for reasons that
They're marks.
it hasn't necessarily been, oh, like TKO paid me more. It's been for very specific career reasons, and logically they make sense. Like Jade Cargill apparently got a big offer from Tony Khan, declined it, went to WWE because hey, like they
She
can get
thought
me
she
into
was gonna,
Hollywood, which is her end goal.
and she like she is the most understandable to me, and I feel like she got sold a bill of goods. But like I do think Jade is the most understandable move because even at the time we were kind of like, yeah, it makes sense. Like they're better for her, and then it didn't work out.
For her talent level and the style, like the Smoke and Mirrors was better for her there. Other guys, more recent guys like Bull Hobbs, Royce Keys, whatever. Like it's like he moved. He apparently got at least a good from Tony Khan to stay, and then didn't stay. But then it came out afterwards that we thought like he was like mid-30s. He's actually like 41, 42, something like that. So he's in his 40s now. He's at the point now where it's like, yeah, man, I want my WWE run. And it's like, all right, well, sure. Like maybe you didn't get the big money offer, but because you may not be doing this 20 more years.
Yeah.
And let's be honest for a second, despite what Triple H would want to say about the grind, they ain't going to be working near as much.
Yeah.
So he would be getting a lighter schedule, even if he has to travel more. He's going to be getting a lighter schedule, and he gets to be like, I got to do that too.
Not that AEW does it, but WWE doesn't really run house shows either.
No, they run a couple. I don't even know if they do that now. But like I think the only two unforgivable ones, the two I point to and be like, yeah, you're marks. And one Really, it's just Stephanie Vacure. Hers was
Oh
egregiously
yeah.
terrible because she even said that publicly, so I'm pretty sure they knocked even more money off. So she was egregious because of her age, and I think she could have signed the AEW deal and worked with it. The other one I think was kind of bad was Mariah May, but even hers I think is more defensible because she was coming off of a good run, and I think she assumed she could catapult
They
in
would do stuff
WWE.
with her.
So Stephanie Vacquier is the worst. I think Mariah May should have stayed, but even hers is more defensible than
Look, I'm gonna be
Stephanie.
Stephanie
real
Vac.
honest about Mariah. I'm sorry, Matt. Let me get this out,
Yeah.
and then I'll pass it over to you. Mariah's run when she was not working with Tony didn't do much for me. It seemed, how can I phrase this best? I remember going there. One of the shows I was at live was during her run with the women's title. And what did I get out of it is that she came off, at least live, came off as trying way too hard and just not really landing. So,
I I feel that unfortunately it's what her NXT run showed us is that she maybe isn't.
She kind of got botched in
They handle her wrong. They handle her
her name
poorly.
was
But
bad. Her name was bad, and and the worst part is they gave her a porn star's name. So if you looked her name up, you got hardcore
huh,
porno. But they should have kept the thing, and then they tried to recreate the Tony Storm feud with Jordan Grace, who just doesn't. I'm not dogging on
but,
Jordan Grace. I actually have liked her for a lot of her career,
but
but
that's,
she doesn't have that same it factor that Tony Storm does. And the thing is, you can't recreate the feud with a different person necessarily because they don't have the
mm,
same toolkit. So
yeah, you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole with that. And
it
yeah.
would be
it's
like
just
back in the
not going to
day
work.
working a program with Ric Flair and then trying to go over to WWE and do the exact same program with Randy Savage. It wouldn't work because the personality is different.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that the releases, or were there a couple no names in
That
there?
was the releases. And I guess the thing that came out today was that I think this was like from TNA. TNA was even like, yeah, like they always have a home here, but we expect they're going to sign with AEW. And it's like that before they signed with WWE. I guess Tony Khan was in like serious discussions with them to join with AEW, and they chose WWE because I do think like that's why we talked about all these people who signed. Like there are other people who've signed with WWE who it kind of makes sense, like Penta in Phoenix. Phoenix, it hasn't worked out great for him, but Penta, it's like, what did Penta want? He wanted to basically coast and just sell a bunch of merch, which is what he did.
Yeah. But I
So
think it
it's
made
like, yeah,
sense for him though. It made sense for him. I think
yeah,
Phoenix
but
was dumb.
it also to me like it makes sense for Motor City Machine Guns. It's like, yeah, they're not going to use you, right? But it's like, what's your goal? If like you're in your 40s, you just want to be like, well, we can get a trainer gig in NXT
It makes
and
it
then
easy
ride that
money
out.
on merch.
Yeah, and then ride the trainer gig out for like who
Maybe
knows
get
how
an
many
action
years.
figure, get like a couple video game checks. Like it does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
so it made sense, but they're
Like,
gone now. So I would not be surprised if Tony Khan gives them a contract or offers them, and they do come into AEW. And I think that they actually would add value there. But it is also like you
I
got a
think
lot of guys
past the
on the
Bucks
roster. You
match,
got
I don't care that much.
I don't think that it's like signed them for like a 5-year deal.
I'd sign them
Um,
for like a 3 month deal. Let them work FTR. Let them work Bucks, and then they can go on their way. I think.
someone brought up a point, and it's like, yeah, like you signed recently last few months. You signed the Rascals, and it's like you should push that. You should push those
They're
guys.
younger too. Yeah,
They're younger. Like they can do a lot of the
more
Motor City Machine Guns.
modern
Again, I
sensibility.
actually would bring them in. I think that you can get some good matches out of them, and they could put people over. I wouldn't sign them again like a 5-year deal. Like even maybe like 3 years would be like the max, I guess, but almost be like maybe even less
so
than that. But
the Rascals have actually been doing. You know that thing that Tony Khan likes to do is when someone new comes in, he's like, "Hey," or it sure seems like it's like, "Hey, you're going to be putting people over for a while." They have been working their ass off and shining in the process of doing that. that. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know what? Even if I didn't know who they were and I didn't care, mad props to them because they are going out there and working hard.
They've been around for a long time. Okay, so we have two matches this week because it kind of just happened that way. So we have a comedy match that we're gonna do first, then we have a serious match. So the first match is it's Stalker Ichikawa Z versus Jun Akiyama. So he's obviously this is from Dragon Gate, I think around 2007, 2008, because I know I saw this when I got a DVD of a show. But so essentially he's a shitty wrestler is his gimmick. And what he was doing at this time is it was like a challenge against legends. So he worked one with like Awesome Kong, and I don't remember who else he worked with, but so this is part of that challenge series. And I did enjoy it because they kind of did a spoof of the Gracie train when he came out. And he had the gi and everything. So pretty much the matches, he's doing all this stuff to Jun Akiyama, and none of it's working. So like, there's a point where he's like chopping him in the corner, and he just runs out of gas and he gets tired. And Akiyama just kind of was like, "You got some dust on me, man."
Yeah.
And then he tried to do a suplex, and he dumps himself on his head. He did like the rope walk, and then he just kind of fell when he tried to do a move. What else? Did he do like a cross body block and just kind of bounce off of him helplessly?
I do not remember that. Um,
And then
there's
he did a sunset flip, and then June was gonna do something. And he like pinched him on the butt to get out of it.
yeah.
That was his most effective move, I think.
So it was well, okay. So as we're watching this, Brad says to me, he goes, "Okay, I want to hear what you think of this guy who his whole thing is uh, that he sucks at it." And I'm watching it, and my takeaway is everything that he does that's not a clear comedy spot, he does a good job with. It just off the top of my head, that sunset flip, very well done. The like a whole bunch of stuff that he's doing, and you might be like, well, he goes to hit the shoulder blocks at the beginning and he doesn't bump for it. Well, no, he doesn't. But that's part of the visual comedy is that he hits and he's like, oh god, because if he just hit and went down, that's one thing. But he hits and he staggers off of him and he drops to a knee and he's like, oh hell, oh god, like he's if you're gonna do a gimmick of being bad at wrestling, you have to be good at wrestling to do it because you need to be able to make sure that the quote unquote bad stuff that you do doesn't injure somebody.
And you need to know how to subvert things to make it funny.
Yeah. Yeah. So it is I can very clearly see that he knows what he is doing. Um Even if, he's mostly doing comedy spots. And that's people get all up in arms about comedy spots, but the truth is lots of people don't do any comedy at all, which means that if you do comedy, you stand out. Cool.
There's a place
Stand
for
out there.
someone like him on a show, though.
Every now and then you've got to okay, adult attention spans about every 20 minutes you need some kind of shift in focus in order to keep people engaged. And if, like you said, Brad, going to like Ring of Honor shows where everyone was trying to put on a 5-star classic, it gets old. But if you're doing some stuff and you're doing some stuff, and then right in the middle of you have this goofy ass comedy match that has goofy, silly spots in it, but as it turns out, they can still wrestle. Cough, cough, Orange Cassidy. What does that do? Is that kind of refreshes the crowd, and they're like, "Ah, that was fun. That was
Yeah.
funny. I enjoyed that."
Because you
And
know
so,
where I'd put him if I was doing a wrestling show if I had this guy on my roster.
What's that?
He'd be the first match back from the intermission.
That'd be a good spot. Or if you were doing, yeah,
Or he'd be two
if you're
spots.
doing,
He'd be there. He'd be two spots. He'd be he'd be the match before the match before. He'd be the if the main event was here, he'd be the match before the match before the main event. Is where I. Those are the
he'd
two
be
spots.
right before semi-main. If you're doing a
Yeah,
6-match card, the match before or after intermission, I think, is good.
yeah.
Because if it's before, everybody gets a laugh. You go into intermission feeling good. If it's the one after, then it kind of eases you back in. I understand that. Yeah.
And
Um,
it's like it's a palate cleanser. Like you got that break, and you come in. It's like okay, well this is low stakes and goofy.
this is just fun,
Yeah.
and that's
But like I
yeah.
said, he'd be the spot before the semi, or he'd be after intermission, depending on how your card was done. That like he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at his placement on like Dragon Gate cards, he tended to be in that later half of the show.
Where you need a break from the serious stuff,
And
and yeah,
I think this would actually be a good gimmick on the Indies because it'd be like a great way to get like and do this action thing. Be like, hey, Tommy Rich, you want to come in and do a weekend and sign some autographs? You can work with this goofball where you don't have to do anything because he's just gonna like
he's
drop
gonna
a
bounce off of you.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've said it before. I wish that I wish that I had done goofy stuff. Because number one, it would have been more fun. Number two, people would have liked it more. And number three, it probably would have taken less toll on me.
Yeah.
So,
I
you
also
know,
what helps with him too is he's very expressive. Like his facial expressions really help stuff. Like he really sell. Like when he was doing the chops and he's getting tired, I thought was funny.
so let me point something out with that. Is it's not just the facial expressions, but his whole posture changes with it, which is carries better for the live crowd. I mean, facial expressions are great when you're watching, you know, you're watching the video feed of it. But the fact that as he winds down, his shoulder starts to droop and he bends over and you can tell he's like quote unquote heaving breath and stuff like that. That's good selling because you're conveying it without people having to see your face. Because there's always going to be people behind you.
Yeah. I don't know. What'd you think, Matt? Did you enjoy this little bit of nonsense?
I did. It was fun. Just lighthearted. Like, uh, you know, just as an aside, like I feel for whatever reason, I feel it's a different culture, obviously, but I feel like the Japanese, like, for some reason, do really well with like comedy matches. Like, they for some reason just get it. Like, and every time I see it, it's like there's a lot of different, even like Joshi promotions do like buddy stuff, and it is always
The incompetent wrestler is kind of a trope across a number of companies because he's not
yeah,
the only. Because I can't think of her name, but she would do it. Because there was one where she fought Jinsei Sasaki and Sendai Girls, and like it was an intergender match, and he was just disgusted by how bad she was. Because he would just disdainfully look at her, and then he'd do a move or whatever. But yeah, like it's kind of a trope.
uh, there's a lot of like whimsy almost with a lot of Japanese comedy wrestling stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
Fukin Death is kind of a
yeah,
is a comedy gimmick. She's not incompetent, but she's like just kind of goofy.
that
But
the
she's
actual real
also
woman
an
is
old
like
47,
yeah,
so she's like extending her career because she went to this more comedy gimmick where she doesn't have to bump and do as much.
yeah, she's a good worker. Like yeah, but yeah, they for whatever reason, like they a lot of I've seen a lot of like comedy stuff. Like DDT would
Yeah.
have like a lot. DDT is an interesting promotion because they can have really high level, like
Oh yeah.
really good
Well,
wrestling stuff.
DDT's like very. There's a lot of memes, but if you actually watch DDT shows, there isn't like a ton of comedy. Like the stuff tends to break containment, but like you can go whole shows that's just like, oh yeah, this is just really good wrestling. And
Yeah,
actually, it's not as good as it was because the talent's getting older. But it's also like a satire of American booking. So if you watch DDT, is like if Shad watched it, Shad'd be like, "Oh, I like this because it's very familiar." Because what they're kind of riffing on is like American booking sensibilities, so it makes sense. But I remember they did one once, and it wasn't totally comedy, but like Chris Brooks was working with this little guy, and they were facing these two like monster guys, and he would chop him, and nothing would happen. Chris Brooks like hit him again. And he's like, "Come on, you can do it." And he's like encouraging him, and he's just getting wrecked. While Chris Brooks is like, "Come on, hit him again."
The thing that um, I think when it comes to comedy wrestling that people miss is people don't want quote unquote comedy. They don't want stand up in the middle of the ring. What they want is they want to see some goofy stuff because you're if you're trying to be funny and you're trying to be funny. If you're being goofy, you're doing something amusing. You're not, and people are going to laugh and enjoy it, but just off the top of my head, if I was going to do a goofy spot and I shot the guy into the corner and I point at him, and then I come running in like this and he moves and I hit the turnbuckle and I come out like this, what's that look like? It just looks big over the top and goofy, and that's kind of fun to watch. And that's really all you need. You don't need someone who's trying to be funny. Just be goofy and people laugh because they're enjoying it.
Or I can't
And,
think of
what's this guy do? What's Stalker do? He's being goofy.
yeah, because there's a match he has with Awesome Kong. I should have given it to you, but the match is like he chops her a couple of times and it doesn't do anything to her, so he just feels her up and she clotheslines him and pins him because she was horrified at what he did. And it, but like there's also I can't think of her name, but she's like her gimmick in TJPW, she's kind of autistic, but I like to say she's a normal person being a wrestler and doesn't like understand like the antisocial nature of it. So like she'll apologize and stuff before she does moves to them.
Mhm.
Matt might know her name. But then there's like they'll be doing like a
Uh,
battle royal and just be standing around awkwardly because like you kind of have to if you're in a battle royal, so you kind of just have to take initiative and beat someone up, and she's just kind of like waiting patiently for someone to come free to do stuff with.
hold on, let me look it up.
It's I think your last
Mahiro,
yeah.
Mahiro Kiryu.
Yeah, that's her.
She, we talked about that before, like offline. She's basically like, I don't even say like autistic. She's like the straight person. She's like a normal person
Yeah, it doesn't
in
it
this work.
doesn't
It's
doesn't have
this
the
is
antisocial streak that you need to have to be a wrestler.
this is like Shad. Like let me actually put this. This is actually the analogy I will use. It's like if you take a normal human being person
Hmm.
and you drop them in a sea of just Muppets, and they're like constantly confused about the weird wackiness of the Muppets. It's like, why are you acting? Why is this person? Why is Animal doing that? Why is he swinging from the shit? And it's like she just seems constantly confused about everything going on and the wacky hijinks that she constantly will be involved in with, because she'll be in a match against like, you know, um, Harajuku and Palm just doing weird Palm things. And she just like confused. But she was in a match that I saw like from I think it was like last year. Where it was like her in a tag team, and I think even like Aja Kong. She was maybe tag team with Aja Kong against like some of the like Palm,
Was that when
whatever like
Reiku? Is
that.
that when Aja Kong was like? Because one of the running gags in TJPW is Aja Kong comes in a lot, but she loves Reiku. Like genuinely, like is Reiku's best friend, and Reiku
She does
just
love
fucks
Riku.
her over, just fucks her over all the time. So there was like this streak of
Yeah.
matches where she was being nice to Reiku, and Reiku would just be an asshole to her. It's so
The
endearing.
match I'm thinking of, I think it was Palm versus and Riku
Her and
versus
Mahiro.
Mahiro and Aja Kong. I feel like I maybe I'm misremembering, but
No, I
I feel
think
like it was because they are like they start like the opposing team started like hugging and everything like that, and they started hugging like Aja, and then it was all like the three of them. They're almost like three of them were like a team, and my hero started getting like where it was like, what? Why am I being left out? And so like they started to hug, and then they just started beating her, beating her up, and it's like this makes no sense, but it makes sense because
Well,
it's like,
Reiku's. If you don't know, Reiku is like a god, Chad.
Okay.
And
yes, that's the lore of Reiku is that she might actually be God,
yeah,
not a god,
Okay.
the god, the god.
she
Like
comes out with a pillow
Okay.
and she'll like fall asleep during matches and stuff.
she does fall asleep. She's obsessed with trains.
Okay.
And like I said,
Yes, God.
Aja Kong, like Aja Kong is so good because you can just see like how much like affection she has for Reiku, like just like so happy like when they're there, and then Reiku's mean to her. I feel bad for Aja Kong.
Yeah, and again, like Japanese wrestling, they do comedy stuff really well. Like
Yeah.
you know, Maki Ito.
Yeah.
One of Maki Ito's big spots is she does the what's it called, the Kokeshi or something. It's
The
like the
Kokeshi headbutt.
she has the headbutt, and again, Reiku like will fall asleep. She brings a pillow. Like sometimes she'll like fall asleep during the match.
Mm-hmm.
And so she like there's a sequence where it's Maki Ito either singles or in a tag team against Reiku, and Riku's like asleep, laying in like on her pillow in the middle of the thing, and Maki Ito is like telling her to be quiet 'cause she doesn't want to wake Riku up, and she like goes and she goes to do the headbutt onto Riku, and Riku just like
Rolls.
rolls over like she's rolling over into sleep, and it's like like she like Maki Ito like crashes to the ground because it's like
that
I missed that,
that's
and it's like
that's actually
yeah
one of my favorite spots from the tens is when Jervis Cottonbelly like rocked Orange Cassidy to sleep during a match.
yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
this is so dumb, but it's fantastic because
I
it's
love.
Yeah.
like
I actually love
actually really good comedy.
Gentleman
Yeah.
Jervis is someone that AEW should have done for a couple of spots.
I had a friend who is not a wrestling guy, but I showed him some Orange Cassidy stuff, and then I got a message from him the next day that was one of the spots where Orange Cassidy's having the match, and the guy picks him up and rocks him to sleep and lays him down, and he's trying to get everybody to be quiet to pin him. Probably the same thing,
It was probably Jervis. I
but
think that was.
did you ever wear a mask?
Yeah, Jervis. Yeah, Jervis
Okay.
is like, you know, Jervis if you saw him.
I'm guessing, man. But yeah, no, it's I believe he did a good job for what he was doing, and it's a thing that not a lot of people would do well. So
Jun Akiyama was good in this. He didn't do much, but him not cracking was pretty.
yeah, the fact that he
Uh,
didn't do much is what really made it. It was
no, I like that he basically played it straight as a heart attack. He was a straight man in this, and that actually worked better. I felt because he could play after the comedy.
yeah.
It made the comedy like it heightened it, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It
definitely.
it actually also involves Jun Akiyama. So there was a point Shad in DDT where the heavy metal title won itself
Hmm.
because they
Yeah.
knocked someone out. I think it was Poison Suwama got knocked out, and they put the belt on him, and then
They counted it.
And so they were doing an interview with Jun Akiyama, and it's sitting on the table, and he's like this. Someone starts counting. He's like, "What the fuck?" And he like lifts his elbow up, and they stop, and he does it again. They count the three. I think it was for the 1,000th champion. They had the belt win itself.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But so then our second match, this is actually from PWF, which was a short-lived follow-up to CWF, and Dusty Rhodes ran it like between his NWA and WWF run for some
Hmm.
history to this. So this is Terry Funk versus Dustin Rhodes. It's kind of just an extended squash match. I was actually really impressed with Dustin because I feel like so what he does really well in this match, I feel is the hardest part for people to catch on to is like the selling.
Hmm.
And he sells really well in this.
Yeah. So I'm scrolling up for it where I made my notes. His selling's really good because there's a spot early in the match. Terry's just peppering him, and he's getting punched in the head. Dustin's getting punched in the head a lot, and Dustin does this spot where he fires up and he comes back and he hits Terry, and Terry goes to the floor. And Dustin's watching him, and you'd be like, well, why isn't he following him out there? He's fired up. He's on offense. Why is he not following? And once Terry goes to the floor and Dustin comes out of the corner, he looks at him and he kind of like grabs his head and he's like, oh, God, this guy was just absolutely clobbering the hell out of me. And uh, that, filled some. It makes sense. Why is he not following Terry out there? It's like, well, he's recovering from the fact that Terry beat the shit out of him. And um, it's really good. Funk controls the pace really well because I mean he's Terry Funk, but Terry Funk knows how to control the pace without it looking like he's padding. There's plenty of times where he steps away from going after Dustin to screw with the ref or yell at someone on the outside, just doing your typical heel stuff. But what it does is it gives the new guy a chance to make sure he's all right. And
Yeah, and he sells really well in this. I think his punches looked a little when he was attacking Sir Oliver
his
Humperdinck.
Dustin's punches were not up to form yet. And it's something that he got better at very quickly.
And he's like in his first year, we need to say.
Yeah,
he's
in his first year. What I saw was that he was doing a lot of the punches that land here. He throws the punch and it lands there. Whereas you get just to where, his first few matches in WCW is the natural, and his punches are just excellent.
Yeah, but I thought this was a fun little match. Like for a first year, I think this is probably about as good of a match as you can have, unless you're like X-Pac.
Yeah, well,
And you're going up against Terry Funk, who is in the contention for one of the best workers of all time.
Yeah,
and you mentioned it earlier. Like there are things that Terry Funk did that you Shad specifically appreciate more as like a worker having done it.
Yeah.
But if like all of us, we've seen enough wrestling that we can kind of pick up on that. You had that extra insight, but
Yeah.
things that Funk would do, it's like, oh, like you're giving the rookie time, or you're doing something to emphasize what the rookie's doing, or give him like a moment.
Yeah.
And it's done so like, because he's so skilled, he's so experienced. It's done in a way that you don't even like appreciate it unless you're someone like us who like has seen so much wrestling that you're like, I'm gonna hyper focus on what Terry Funk's doing and
Yeah.
kind of notice that, but he does it effortlessly, and it's so smart. It just it makes you appreciate, in my perspective, him as a worker. That even a match like this, like
Yeah.
a 10-15 minute match, that he's
It
had
was
with a rookie.
it was pretty much, I think, with like kind of what it is. This match is, if you're trying to imagine it, it's probably was meant to be a squash, and because it was Dusty's kid and Terry probably had a lot of respect for Dusty's, like, hey, I know it's gonna be a squash, but let's go long. Let's go long.
Yeah.
It will.
Let's see what we can get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every now and then you have a match where you're challenging yourself to be like, I bet I could do something good with this.
But see, I think this is good though, because like I know we've talked about this before, but like, wouldn't you have loved to have like 15 minutes with like an absolute legend, just to like, I mean, like if you had a match like this, even though you didn't do a ton, wouldn't you have learned more from this than probably like a couple years of like wrestling?
Oh my God. The ability to just sit and talk with someone like Terry Funk who would be willing to talk about this stuff. We go out, we have a match, and he goes, okay, I'm going to tell you some stuff. Oh, yes, please. Oh, my dear God, please. May I ask you some questions? Go ahead. Okay, when we do this, we do this. What's the deal with that? Okay, how about this? Like, oh my God. It would have, just the one conversation with Bobby Fulton made a world of difference in how I threw punches. Just him, I was telling him, I'm like, look, I do, I've done boxing, that sort of stuff. I don't want to, just absolutely tater the hell out of somebody. And he goes, oh, okay, I understand where you're coming. Come here, let me show you something. And he showed me what to do with my hand for it. World of difference. And yes, dear God, that would have just in my veins, man, in my veins.
You know what story always sticks out to me is Big Show talking about when he was working Hogan the first time. He's like, "Yeah, I had him in the corner. I didn't know what the hell to do, and like I froze, and Hogan grabbed my arm and like started selling because he like pulled it to his neck, and then acted like a
He pushed him in the corner, and Hogan pulled his hands up to his neck.
yeah,
Yeah, that was something that I put together myself. Was okay in doing this. It's if you're a heel, make sure you find every little way to be a dick. And so that was, I wasn't necessarily on the throat putting someone in the corner, but I was, if I wasn't choking, I was in your eyes kind of
mm-hmm.
stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was a fun little match. Like, I need to dig up more PWF because it was very short lived.
It was a fun little. Oh, go ahead, Chad.
No, you go.
I was gonna say like it was a fun little match. And per the announcer, thank God those nasty boys ran in and
I
saved Dustin
so
Rhodes. And
so
like,
I do want to do I do want to do a PSA for this because this is obviously like post added commentary by whoever uploaded this. If you're gonna do that, one I would say don't. But if you feel the absolute need to, instead of like trying to commentate it straight, just you know what would have been better? Is just being like, okay, this is from this. Like, why don't we talk about the PWF? Like, maybe do like a history of the PWF over the match. Maybe talk about like their careers respectively or where they were in their careers. And be like, hey, this is Terry Funk right before he went back to WCW. I would say if you're gonna do this sort of thing, don't commentate the match straight because it's gonna suck. Like, do
And
like talk about like the surroundings of the match because I think you could get some value out of that.
it,
And you don't have to like try and fake like being an announcer and reacting to stuff, which is hard to
it,
do if you know the result or you've seen the match before.
it, it drove me crazy because there's a spot where, um, Dustin goes after Oliver Humperdinck, who's managing Terry Funk in this. And he goes, "Well, it seems kind of unnecessary for him to do that." And I'm like, "Why? Why does it seem unnecessary? Why did you say that?" "Oh, well, the only thing I can figure is he was like, well, I'm supposed to say something about him doing that here, and that's what I came up." No, God,
Yeah, I know.
it's it is another. It's like when it's a case of trying too hard. A few months back, right before the most recent Dresden book came out, there was a guy who was doing an interview with Jim Butcher, and Butcher said something and goes, "Oh man, I can just imagine it. Harry running around in Chicago with his duster and his blasting rod and his staff and Margaret's amulet." And I'm like, "Dude, you are trying way too." Like, I turned it off at that point because I was like, "You are trying so hard to get the author to like you that you are pissing me off, and I can't listen to you anymore. Like, it smells desperate. Quit it."
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, like I said, if you feel the need to do this, I would do meta commentary, like maybe talk about Dustin's early career, maybe just talk about the PWF, like because maybe the person watching doesn't know much about the PWF. Give like a history lesson, be like, this is a promotion Dusty Rhodes started up when he got fired from the NWA. This is how long it ran. These are the kind of guys here, like, oh hey, instead of being like, thank God for the Nasty Boys, being like, oh cool, it's nice to see, hey, look, here's the Nasty Boys before like people really knew who they were, and look how young they look. You know what I mean? Like, there's a
It's
way to do it to be better.
he keeps drifting in and out of doing the meta commentary or not, and it's just like, dude, pick a lane. Oh,
And you can maybe comment on stuff because I know there was like when Wrestling Gold, it was Jim Cornette and Meltzer had a bonus commentary, so it was a lot of history. But there was one where I think it was Tully Blanchard and Gino Hernandez won the titles. I think Tully turned on him right away, and Meltzer is just like, "Well, that's counterproductive."
Mm.
yeah. There's you need to pick the tone of what you're doing. If you're going to play it straight, play it straight. If you're going to be a neutral commentator, be a neutral. If you're going to be a face commentator, be a face but play it pick a lane and stay there.
Yeah, I would agree. But I think that's it for this week. If you're watching this afterwards, sorry this got so mangled. I do not know what's up with OBS. So if you see the channel go live maybe in the next day or two, it might just be me trying to figure things out. So don't necessarily watch it because it'll probably just be me staring at a screen, making faces. But yeah, sorry about that. I'm going to upload this to the regular channel if you're watching this. It's going to be a little mangled because things happened. So hopefully this is not an issue going forward, but I'll probably be screwing with it the rest of the week. The joys of technology. I guess we're lucky that it took this long for us to really screw something up. So
We did well up to this point.
yeah, I think there was one early, like the Bushwhackers one. Something got screwed up on that, and I had to upload it regularly. But thank you everyone for watching. As always, this has been Matt, Shad, and Brad. We've been in 3 corners, and you've been in the 4th, and we will catch you next time.